Congratulations, gents. Absolutely delighted for both of you. Just the one question for you both. Does it feel like there's any greater pressure on you to produce a spectacle and make it a sense of occasion because of the unique circumstances?
I think you have a duty to entertain as a sport all the time, not just at the Challenge Cup final. But the biggest thing for us and the focus for us will be about going about the right way and sticking to our processes to try and win the game. That's the ultimate kind of entertainment we can give to all the supporters of Salford more than anything else. But I think every week, every team has an awareness that they have to produce some kind of entertainment. And generally, rugby doesn't go unentertained with all the collisions and everything else that's involved in it anyway. And I'm sure Saturday will be no different.
Yeah, I hope we do. I hope we do. I hope we produce a great spectacle, but I certainly don't feel any pressure to go out there and make sure that is our focus. Like Ian, we got to do what we think we need to do to try and win the game. But at the same time, if you look at both teams this year and some of the football that they've played, both capable of producing great tries and good attacking football as well on the day. So I hope it does produce a spectacle. There's going to be a lot of eyes on us again because of the circumstances and the fact it's covered on BBC too. I hope we can produce a game and an event what is fitting for such a showpiece game.
We spoke at the beginning of the season, and this was probably one. We've always felt because our squad's not as big as most others. Super League one, there's got to be a lot of luck in there in terms of players staying fit and healthy. Leeds, for example, at the moment are pretty healthy in terms of their squad, and they're doing really well in the Super League there. And they've obviously got good young players coming through as well, and so you'd expect them to be high up this year to compete really well. With us, we felt Challenge Cup was probably more of an area that we wanted to really focus on, probably more so on the back of last year with having to change 12 players and probably restructure the way we played a little bit or get players used to our systems. We felt this was a real possibility because the majority of the guys who we've got here and the ones from last year have experienced that winning mentality now, and they're keen to keep playing in them kinds of games, and that's what you play the game for at the end of the day, to play in them big games as well. So we'll compete to the end in the Super League. The Challenge Cup was a big target for us at the start of this year.
You know, there is no crowds, there's no family going. You don't have to buy your missus a new dress and worry about hotel rooms and shoes and handbags and all stuff like that. It leaves it in a way, in a time where we've got 5 games in 18 days, it leaves it as a time for us that it's just business for this one. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's such a shame that we're not going to get to experience that on a number of levels. But at the same time, given the way it's come around for us, our focus has been very much on, preparing our team, 1 to play tomorrow night and then 2 to play at the weekend. So we haven't got any of the other usual distractions that a game like this can bring and bring in a fairly sizable way as well. So for me, I've sort of personally, yeah, it's a lovely story, and I'll always the part it's had in my life. Some of it, as I've already talked about, on a very personal and private level. When I go back to what happened in and around that 1983 stuff, but at the same time, for me now, it's not about any of that. It's just about trying to prepare this team for a quality game at the weekend.
Rich will probably tell you the same. You don't kind of get caught up in everything else because you're in your own bubble and you're preparing your team. And once the game against Huddersfield was over, you're thinking about Hull KR. Once the Hull KR game's over, you'll think about the Challenge Cup final for us. Once that's over, you're straight on to the next game. You don't get loads of time to spend thinking about what you've done or what you possibly could kind of achieve. And I kind of like that as well, because you kind of can't get caught up in anything then as well. The people who deserve the credit on the back of it are generally the staff members that work with you day in, day out, who put a lot of hours in, and the players who commit to what you're speaking about, and they hold each other accountable within the group. And they're the guys that deserve the credit for getting to a Challenge Cup final and hopefully being able to win it. And maybe we can get a Salford player picking up the the Lance Trophy.
Looking at your playing careers, obviously both of you spent most of your time playing Championship. Is it a good advert for the Championship?
All the time.
I don't want to say that, Rich, but but in terms of, obviously, for coaches, is it a good sign that you guys have obviously come through without all that experience of playing Super League to come and get to the highest level, and is it a good advert for for what the way you've done it, as it were, for Rich?
I don't know about an advert, Dave, but I just think probably depends on the person. About your passion and your love for the game, but probably your understanding for the game as well. If you don't mind me talking about Ian a little bit, I played with him for a very short period at Widnes, and a deep thinking scrum half, very clever, again knows the game inside out, and he's been able as a communicator to get that over and translate that into his players. So I do think, Dave, you can find any example to support your theory. You can find guys that have coached at the absolute highest level that have never played much more than park football, and you can find the superstars that have gone on and been world-class coaches too. So I do think you can find examples to support whatever theory you want. The biggest, I guess, quality or trait you can have as a coach is you need the ability to work hard. That doesn't always guarantee you success either, but a love and passion for the sport and understanding of it, and being prepared to work hard. And I guess one thing about coming out of the Championship and not having an illustrious blue chip career is you probably have to work a little bit harder at the lower end of the game. And I only see that as a benefit. My first ever jobs were Featherstone Lions in the conference when I was still playing, and England students. And when I look back on that, I realise that I made so many mistakes, but mistakes that the players probably didn't know that I was making. I would say that I knew I was making the mistakes, but the ability to, again, communicate with a group, learn by your errors, make decisions on the run, put schedules together, all that. It's been a 20-odd year journey for myself, and one that you're still learning on. So I do think that there is some advantages of having to come through the hard way and really work yourself through those times to the point where you do get an opportunity. I was fairly lucky that I got an opportunity at probably 32-year-old at Hull FC, but that wasn't without already having coached for probably 5 years before that too. So yeah, it's been a good grounding, and I do think principles of rugby league, of course, the higher level that you get, there's a degree of the technical side of the game that I guess if you're going to stand in front of a video screen with a pointer in your hand in front of a group of world-class players or players that have achieved a lot in the game, you've sort of got to know what you're talking about technically. But I do think cutting your teeth and working your way through those, doing the hard yards, if you like, Dave, have certainly been a really good foundation for myself.
Cheers. And just to Ian then, what do you recollect of playing alongside Rich?
Like Rich said before, we probably had a small time together, Widnes. Rich was an extension of the coaching team of Neil at that point. Somebody who kind of on-field coached, ran the team, delivered the messages that Neil wanted, and controlled the team, and had a really good kind of kicking game. Like when you say, I think in halfback, someone who can organise and control and use his kicking game to the best advantage. I just on your last question, I think it's kind of great, me, for the Championship. I'm a big fan of the Championship. I absolutely love it, because what Richard alluded to was the work ethic. And the guys who play at Championship have to get up early in the morning and go and work, and then they have to go and train at night, knock holes out of each other generally in the sessions as well, get up the morning after and go to work, and then they do a weight session, and then they might go back and train. There's proper commitment there to be a street rugby player more than anything, rather than you look at Super League and you see the athletes that are playing the game now, and some of them won't be as educated as what them championship players are. When you're down at that, say, the lower level, I think you've got to have a love for the game, and you've got to have an understanding of the game as well, an understanding of your position. And I feel that was probably something that myself and Richard did have. We wanted to play and wanted to win. Everyone was a competitor. In the championship, there's no one who plays just to play rugby, else you just go and play it amateur and play with your mates. What you want to do is you want to win, you want to compete, and you want to get the extra kind of money in as well, which the championship brings as well. But to do that, you've got to be really, really committed and work really hard, and to play for as long as probably what Richard did as well in championship. You've got to do that for a long period of time. So, like I say, I'm a massive fan of the championship. I think it's a great place for players to cut the teeth in, especially younger players. Rich does it with the Featherstone, sending his young lads to Featherstone, and then obviously as a coach as well. I was kind of quite lucky. I came through and was able to do player coach before I came here as well. And you see it from both sides there as well. And it gives you a good schooling for when you do come up into Super League. But at the same time, it helps you break things down rather than you thinking too complicated all the times. It helps you break things down, because some of them championship players, they don't want to know all about kind of the stats. They just want to play the game for the raw beauty that it is.
I think I'm at a point where I'm not sure I'm ever going to win certain PR battles. I think regardless of how our season ends up this year, there'll always be those ready to smash the fingers into the keyboard and, proclaim that I'm not the right person for this job. But when I took the job, I did it on the understanding, I don't think I could have been any sort of fairer with the club and with Kevin, that probably 7 or 8 weeks away from the end of the season, they talked about, do I want to do it and making an appointment? And I felt we should wait. I felt I needed, for my own ends and for the club ends, to keep the team going till the end of the year and make sure we avoided relegation and not limp on. We did that. We finished in 8th spot, which, for a club of this size is clearly not where they want to be. But at the same time, given the situation that we inherited, bottom of the league and losing to Bradford in the Cup, I think the turnaround in 12 months, again, in sort of the 12-month or a season, whatever it's been from then, the turnaround would be hard to argue that we're not sort of pointing in the right direction. We're in a major final and we currently sat in the top 4. So I don't feel like I've had anything to prove to anyone, really. What I just want is a happy team that is committed and worthy of wearing this badge, which I think at the moment we've got a bunch of guys that have really bought into everything we're trying to achieve, and the results so far have been there for us. But I also know that when you're in a job like this, you are expected to be in finals and win silverware, and that comes with the territory. But for me personally, I'm probably in a better place than I've ever been coaching wise to deal with it. I think I've had plenty of experiences, good or bad. As I say, I'm sort of at an ease that I don't think I can ever win the PR game with some people, so I'm probably not even going to bother trying. I just need to keep my team, our team, where it needs to be, and that's in games like this.
It's what you brought up watching every year. You're waiting for that special day. Your amateur rugby club, everyone's got buses on going to the Challenge Cup final. It's amazing that we've got there this year, and people can't go. I know people who've been going to Wembley for 30 odd years. They've been going in the Salford shirts for 30 odd years as well from our amateur rugby club. And my old coach, Fred Pickup, he was one of them guys who goes every year with his family, and this year they can't go. So that's going to be strange. But yeah, the Challenge Cup's special. No matter who you speak to, you remember all the Australians who come across and they say, that's what they used to always get up for back home, to watch the Challenge Cup, because they don't have that kind of cup competition over there. So it's special. And for the people who live in the UK and you're a rugby player, whether you're amateur or whether you're professional, that's always been one of the pinnacles of the game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it'd be massive for Salford as a club to win the trophy. But what I suppose as well, it'd be important for rugby league in the area as a whole as well to sort of keep sort of stimulate that growth and hopefully start sparking interest among the younger players who you obviously want to start bringing through at Salford.
Yeah, we've got some good teams. We've got some good local amateur teams, and quite a few more than what they had when I was playing when I was younger as well. hopefully last year we get into the grand final. That kind of reignited that little bit of a fire with the youngsters that rugby league's a possibility and you can still win things playing at Salford. Getting to the Challenge Cup final again cements that hopefully for them as well and gets more guys out there playing rugby rather than football. Obviously we have massive competition with United and City. Everyone wants to go there obviously because they see the limelight, the money and everything else. But over the last couple of years, I think Salford within the community and becoming more of a community team as well, and community owned by supporters and local businesses, I think it's really generated a better feel to it. Like I said, it would have just been perfect if we'd have been able to have the supporters there, because if you look how many that we actually took to Manchester for the final last year, it would have been a great achievement for everybody to kind of take part in and feel an ownership to it.
Are you wearing a suit, Watall?
I've been told I have to, Rich.
Yeah, that's what it like. Yeah. I'm moving house and I've packed all my stuff, so I've got to go get one.
I'm being forced into it, mate. So yeah.
That's all. I'll be dying to ask that.
Yeah.